Welcome in, basketball fans. Welcome back to some OK Red basketball matchup. Tonight's the big one. It's Rivalry Week here, and we're live from Vanderslice Gymnasium here at Grandville High School. It's Grandville versus Rockford, the one we've all been waiting for all week. So for the first time ever, you're getting a look at your two commentators. My name is Sam Hungerford. I'm alongside my color commentator for the night, Nick Slater. And so today I think we're just going to run through some keys to the game and kind of just focus in on what each team has to do to come away with a win here. Absolutely. So both teams come in with a very solid record. Rockford at 14-3, and they're leading the OK Red at 9-0. So they've been untouchable in OK Red play, and they seem to be unbeatable to really all Grandville sports so far.
Yeah, Grandville been on a little bit of a dry streak against Rockford. Obviously lost both the games in football. Lost the first matchup at Rockford. They're looking for a big win here tonight. If they win, keeps them alive in the running for OK Red championship. But obviously, even if they do win, Rockford still maintains the 1 seed, as they would have the tiebreaker over East Kentwood still, which means Grandville-East Kentwood would become another huge matchup in order to determine where the OK Red standings will sit at the end of the day.
Yeah, so right now Grandville comes in at 13-4, so only one win behind Rockford, but they come in 7-2 in the OK Red. So they're 2 games back from the lead in the OK Red. And let's see. EK is the team above us right now, and it's they're at 8-1 in OK Red play. So this is really a must-win game if they want to stay in contention for that 1 seed in the OK Red.
Yeah, absolutely. They still got a game with East Kentwood and with Hudsonville still. They drop either of those games, or even if they drop this game here, they are for sure out of the running for the championship of the OK Red, which heavily impacts where the districts will land. So Grandville is going to badly need to go on a hot streak to end this year in order for them to get a good seed in the tournament. In
upcoming games next week, we have EK, and we travel to East Kentwood, which can be a pretty hostile environment. I mean, they have a lot of cool stuff that they do pregame, and it can be kind of intimidating. So if you're thinking about that and you're looking forward, this is really it has to be a must-win here. And they have the crowd to do it here. It's a Cancer Night Out, so you're going to see a lot of purple if you see the crowd. Almost all the stands are full on the home side and the away side, really. So it's going to be a loud game. It's going to be a fun game, and I think it's going to be a close game.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a hostile environment obviously going to be here, so we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, so obviously it's going to be a close game. So if you missed last game of Grandville versus Rockford, what Rockford did in order to be successful in their 61-30 or 61-51 win, that is, it was at their place. And so what happened is they had a 2-3 zone set up. So they had 2 guys up top, 3 guys down low. And every time the big man, Cam Regniers for Grandville, touched the ball down low, one of the far side on the 3 bottom would come over and double team. And as soon as that happened, Cam was taken out of the play. And it seemed like we weren't ready for it at all. And we kind of panicked and didn't really know what to do. And so as soon as they snapped that in, it seemed like our offense kind of shut down.
Yeah, so now a big point of emphasis. If Rockford does it again, a huge point for Grandville will be to find the open corner 3, and they got to make it. Last game against West Ottawa, they struggled with the corner 3s, missed quite a few of them to open the game. They didn't make a single 3-pointer until the third quarter, late in the third quarter. So we're going to see how that impacts it. They have to knock down the open shots. Once they knock them down, maybe Rockford will start to sag off that 2-3, which could get some great opportunities for Cam Regniers.
Yeah, so obviously only 2 made 3s on the Tuesday night game against West Ottawa, which is that just can't happen.
Brutal.
And I think Rockford knew that scouting report even before Grandville knew that scouting report going into the last game. And what they said was, we're not going to let Cam Regniers beat us.
Yeah.
Cam Regniers obviously coming off a 26-point game against West Ottawa, pretty much beat them. So you got to imagine Rockford comes in with the same mindset and says, somebody else has to beat us tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a huge point of emphasis. Who can step up for the Bulldogs if Cam Regniers is being shut down by the Rockford defense, who plays with a bunch of tenacity?
Yeah, somebody's going to have to step up. Somebody's going to have to get hot from the arc. and we're going to touch a little bit more on some individual players for both teams. In about 50 seconds here, we're going to send it down to Kurt Wilson of our local news station, who is helping us out with the broadcast tonight. And for the first time ever, we have a sideline cam and a sideline reporter, so we're going to be sending it down to him for a few times among the broadcast. But as both teams come back out here, if you had one thing that Grandville needs to do to win, what's it?
It's got to be making threes. It's going to be a huge point of emphasis with the way that they run their 2-3. That's going to be the key for Grandville in order to win this game.
Yeah. And Rockford is blazing hot right now, coming off a 12-0 win streak. And so we are going to send it down to Kurt for a little more information on that 12-game win streak. How are we doing, Kurt?
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, the Rockford Rams come in a house on fire. They are the hottest team in the OK Red. They've won 12 in a row, including that 10-point win at home over Grandville, 61-51, about a month ago, back on January 11th. Included in that 12-game winning streak was an overtime win over Hudsonville, so they played some close games during that 12-game winning streak. The only losses that Rockford has had this season, a loss at Byron Center, a Byron Center team that has been very, very good, a neutral court loss against South Christian, and then they also lost at home to Muskegon. 9-0 in the conference, just a one-game lead over East Kentwood, two-game lead over Grandville, so the Bulldogs know this is a very important game. Dogs come in 13-4 overall, 7-2 in the conference. They've won 4 of their last 5, including that overtime thriller over West Ottawa on Tuesday night, 50-48. And guess what? Not only do the Dogs have to play the Rams here tonight, they have to play East Kentwood in their next game. So the gauntlet is being thrown down right now in the OK Red with Rockford tonight, East Kentwood on Tuesday. 2 huge games for Grandville in the OK Red. They need to get this one here tonight on their home court. Great news, though, for the Bulldogs is Colin Hybor, who was injured in that game against West Ottawa. He is suited up. He was out there on the court warming up. He will play tonight. They really need his three-point shooting, and they need him on the court tonight. So Colin is ready to play. He's in the starting lineup. He's ready to go. And so are the Bulldogs in front of a raucous home crowd here tonight here at the hometown gym. Guys, we're almost ready to go.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kurt. And as Kurt talked about, number 33, Colin Hybor, is playing tonight. So if you missed it on Tuesday, went up for a rebound, came down, hit his head on the backcourt, didn't return for the rest of the game. And that happened in overtime when the Bulldogs needed him. So that's a key player that's coming back. And why don't you dive a little deeper into Colin Hybor's game and what he brings to this Grandville offense?
Yeah, Colin Hybor is one of our 3 big players for Grandville in this game. Colin Hybor is a knockdown three-point shooter. He is second for the Grandville in scoring, and he is Grandville's by far best three-point shooter in terms of both volume and percentage. So he is by far one of the most important players in order to break that 2-3 zone. A couple of other key players are going to be obviously the big man, Cam Rigneris. After coming off that 26-point monster game against West Ottawa, he'll be another key factor as soon as the defense kind of sags off a little bit on him. And then our last key player for Grandville is going to be Carter Wade, the freshman point guard who is starting. He will be a big point of emphasis as he's got to make sure that he plays a clean game. Watch the turnovers, make sure that he's all good to go. And then with reduced turnovers, that'll help the Grandville Bulldogs succeed.
Yeah, so I think you're going to see a Rockford press come out, and you're going to have to see Carter Wade really control this game, control his emotions as just a young freshman, and really step up in a big way tonight if the Bulldogs want to come away with the win. So 3 guys I wanted to point out for this Rockford team is number 3, Mikey DeKuyper. He is a knockdown shooter, always has been, and he seems to beat us every time. He always can make that 3, and he really can get hot whenever. So the Bulldogs really got to be cautious of him. Alongside number 14, Andrew Landis. He's another great shooter, has numerous times where he's dropped double-digit points on us. And the one thing that the Rockford Rams are kind of missing is a big man down low. So that's why they kind of went to that 2-3 zone a little bit. But If they can get man-to-man, I think Cam McNearus is going to have a big night. So 0 seconds has now hit the clock, so we're going to step away for a moment while we honor those who have served our nation and allow us to have these Friday night basketball games as we play our national anthems and hear our starting lineups. All right, we thank you to everybody who has served our nation and made it possible us to have these Friday night games. So if you heard it there a little bit, student section already pretty loud, even after the national anthem. So I think it's going to be a good one here, and we're going to get a lot of crowd help, I believe. And so going back to that point that I made right before the break right there, Rockford really has no dominant big.
Yeah, that's a huge thing for Grandville offensively and defensively. With the lack of a dominant big, the Grandville Bulldogs could look to go maybe inside if they can get through the 2-3. If they can get an open layup, if they can get it, and they can finish strong. And then obviously feeding it to the big man, Cam McNearus. If he can get hot, that's going to be a huge issue for Rockford, as they're going to struggle with the fact of his pure dominance in terms of scoring, boards, and blocks.
Yeah, and it looks like Rockford's going to send out their number 24, Jacob Bascom, only a sophomore. So he's going to be going up against a well-experienced 3-year varsity starter in Cam McNearus, and he's going to have his work cut up for him tonight. So if they do go man-to-man, I think he's going to have a tough time matching up against Cam McNearus. So I am 80% sure they're going to start in that 2-3 zone. But yeah, starters are out there. For Grandville, looks like number 1, Jackson DeYoung. Number 3, Carter Wade. Number 5, Caden Neves. Number 33, Colin Hybor. And number 12, Cameron Rigneris. So typical starting lineup for the Bulldogs. Hasn't really changed much throughout the year. For the Rams, it's number 3, Mikey DeKuyper. Number 4, Dylan Gross. Number 12, that's Drake Irwin. Number 14 is Andrew Landis. And, of course, number 24, Jacob Bascom. So the two bigs meet in the middle. That's number 12, Cam McNearus, and number 24, Jacob Bascom, as they get ready for the tip here live from Vanderslice Gymnasium. Rigneris wins the tip, tips it back to DeYoung. DeYoung hands off to Wade, and Wade's ready to go. Drives right side, hand off to Hybor. Hybor finds DeYoung. Hybor now outside the arc, rolling right, tries to find Rigneris in the middle. Last touch by the Rams. It's going to stay with the Bulldogs.
Yeah, so kind of an opening possession where they looked in to get into Rigneris, gets the ball tipped away from him, but Grandville already starting to try to look towards the middle to get the big points.
If you saw that for a quick moment there, they did bring two guys right towards Cam Rigneris as soon as he tried to touch the ball.
Absolutely.
So here's Wade in the corner for 3, looking for the first points. No good. Off short. Board goes to Irwin. Irwin looks up, finds DeKuyper. DeKuyper stops, guarded closely by Hybor. Finds Gross. Gross is working on the freshman. That's Carter Wade out there.
This crowd is electric. is already very loud in here.
Here's Bascom working on Rigneris. Finds a cutting Irwin. Neves leaves his feet, and Irwin gets the first points here from Vander Slice Gymnasium with an easy layup underneath the basket. Good move to get Neves off his feet there. So here's Wade. Resets. Gets his call from Coach Desmond Young. And here's Hybor now. Back up top to Wade. Wade resets. Wade's working on DeKuyper. Wade pulls up, and he knocks it down. First points for the Bulldogs go to the freshman, number 3, Carter Wade.
Yeah, it's going to be a big shot there for Grandville to start it up. They need to start hitting those open shots when they can.
Here's Landis, now over to, that's Bascom rolling right hand, spin move good, right over the top of Cameron Nearest. Good start for the Rockford Rams. Hot start early, 2 for 2 from the field.
Yeah, that's a big shot over there on Cameron Nearest. It's a good start for the Rams.
A little contact there as Carter Wade tries to drive left, can't go anywhere. Gets a screen up top from Neves, and he resets.
Looks like they're trying to find Rigneris. They've got him on the block.
Hybor driving, and I believe they're getting a blocking foul as number 14, Andrew Landis, got a little too much hand. 6:05 left to go in the first. Rams 4, Bulldogs 2. Here's Neves to inbound. 2-man up top. Inbound goes to Wade. Wade's working on DeKuyper. Going left hand, goes, stops, gets it taken away. Going the other way, that's Gross. Gross finds Bascom. Bascom bounce pass to Landis. And the Rams stay hot. 3 for 3 from the field and makes it a 4-point lead.
Yeah, another great possession there for the Rams. An early turnover from Wade. Kind of what the importance has been in the last couple games for Grandville has been the turnovers. So we'll see how that impacts them today.
So it looks like the Rams are in a bit of a loose 2-3 zone as Neves fires away from 3, no good. DeKuyper picks up the board. He's going the other way. Has a wide open Irwin on the back side. Didn't see it. Now here's DeKuyper up top, rolling left hand. Good defense by Hybor. He's got nowhere to go. Up top, here's Gross. Neves almost picks his pocket, has to stop his dribble. Now here's Bascom. Back to DeKuyper, and DeKuyper resets, now working on Hybor.
We've seen Grandville have been switching a lot between their 3, 4, and 5. All around that 6'5" to, I believe the tallest is Cam at 6'9". Very switchable lineup for the Bulldogs.
Here's Landis in the corner, working tightly on DeYoung. And Drake Irwin gets the basket again. So that's his 6th point already here early. And his scoring has made the margin 8-2.
Yeah, it's just too easy for the Rams there. Grandville looks like they tried to trap him, but then they didn't commit to it hard enough, so they left open the wide open bucket.
Foul's going to go on the front court against number 14, Andrew Landis. Or excuse me, that foul's going to go on number 3, Mikey DeKuyper. That's his first, team second. Checked in for Rockford, number 10, Lucas Pitch, alongside number 2, Isaac Pooh.
So you mentioned that's Rockford's second foul already. That was a huge point of emphasis in the Grandville West Ottawa game, was both teams getting in foul trouble.
Hybor pulls up, no good. Neves fighting for the rebound, and it's going to be Rockford basketball. Last touch by Neves.
Grandville has to start getting some good possessions here on the offensive end. They've got a couple turnovers here. They need to limit the turnovers if they want to get back into this game.
Going to have to start knocking down shots as this Rockford team has started hot here early.
Absolutely.
So that's Boscom, goes up, right hand, no good. Board goes to Sorokin. Sorokin looking to push the other way, finds Hybor, skip pass. Hybor stops, here's Sorokin again. They want to give in the middle to Rigneris. Rigneris gets double teamed. He finds Neves for a wide open look. Neves got it.
And that is exactly what we talked about in pregame. The double team down low to Rigneris and then finding the open man for the 3. Big shot there by Neves.
Beautiful basketball there. So a driving number 4, Dylan Gross, tried to go up. Xander Sorokin went up to block it and landed on him. So the foul is going to go against number 0, Xander Sorokin. It's going to be his first, team first. Looks like foul's going to go on the ground. They're going to say he wasn't yet shooting.
Yep, so Rockford's going to have the ball underneath the hoop.
Inbounder's going to be Gross. Now finds Pitch. Pitch thought about it. No. Driving, working on Neves. No good on the way up. Neves doesn't like the foul call, but it's going to go against him. Sending number 10, Lucas Pitch, to the line, shooting 2.
Yeah, so already an early foul for Grandville once again, and that is on a key starter. That is Caden Neves, the one who knocked on the triple earlier.
Pitch's first one rattles home. Makes your score 9-5 with 3:40 left to go in the first.
Yep, and free throws was a big part of the Grandville West Ottawa game as well. We'll see how it plays out here as well.
Second one per pitch, knocks it down, puts the Rams up 5. So you're seeing a little full court pressure here by the Rams. Not necessarily a full-blown full court press, but just picking them up in the top court and hoping to get a turnover as Grandville steps out of bounds for another turnover. And that's something we kind of emphasized in the Tuesday game. Grandville's just had way too many turnovers in these games, so they're really going to have to limit that if they want a chance here.
Yeah, they honestly had EK going try for try, but they just committed too many turnovers, and that killed them.
That's number 24, Jacob Bascom for 3. Makes it a point margin 8 in favor of the Rams.
Yeah, so an early slow start by the Bulldogs is highlighted by a hot start by the Rams.
They're going to get a foul on a Xander Sorokin drive. I believe it's going to go against number 24. They're going to get it on number 2, Isaac Poot. That's going to be his first, team third. Now checking in for the Bulldogs is number 30. That's Brendan Vanderhart. And number 23, Corbin Heckman. For the Rams, number 3, Mikey DeKuyper came back in. And number 5, Seth Anderson is checked in. So it's going to be Heckman is the inbounder. Up top now is Rigneris. Guarded by Irwin. Handoff pass to Sorokin. Sorokin trying to drive middle. Has to stop. Handoff. That's Vanderhart. Now over to Highboard. Bulldogs with nowhere to go. Good defense by the Rams, and they get a turnover to Drake Irwin. Now here's DeKuyper in the corner for 3. No good. Air ball. Highboard slows. Had Rigneris on the breakaway. Didn't find him. Heckman in the corner. He thought about the 3. No. Up top, here's Highboard. Highboard turnaround jumper. No good. Board goes to Poot.
Yeah, so already Grandville has 4 turnovers to start out the game. The part that was already going to be a big point.
They're going to get a foul on the way up as number 12, Drake Irwin, was driving to the basket. Foul's going to go on number 23, Corbin Heckman, his first, team third. So that's going to send number 12, Drake Irwin, to the line, shooting 2. Not a great start for the Bulldogs, but an amazing start for the Rams.
Yeah, definitely not what you're looking for if you are a Bulldogs fan. Missing shots, committing turnovers, and then the Rams, honestly, a perfect start. You are making all of your shots that you need to make, and then you are forcing so many turnovers on this Grandville team.
Drake Irwin gets 1 of 2. Inbound goes to Sorokin. Sorokin going the other way, left side. He's guarded by Poot. Sorokin slows, resets, now driving left hand again. Drives baseline. Back up top to Heckman. Heckman wants the 3. No good. Board goes to Irwin. Rams looking to push the other way in with speed. Now here's Irwin driving left hand. He stops, tries to find pitch. Pitch lost it. In the corner for 3 is Seth Anderson, and Anderson knocks it down. Early 12-point lead here for the Rams with 1:55 left to go in the first quarter. We're going to take a minute and step away for a moment as Coach Desmond Young tries to get his Bulldogs back in order. All right, so both teams break the timeout. What do you think Coach Desmond Young is telling his players down there?
Well, he's got to be telling them one of 2 things. You either got to stop shooting or you got to keep on shooting, because Grandville cannot bury any of these threes, but they need them in order to beat that 2-3 zone. And then obviously have to limit the turnovers in a very sloppy game by the Bulldogs so far.
We're going to get a officials timeout for a little water on the floor over by the Rockford bench. So I think Coach Young really has to come up with a way to stop this Rockford offense, who's been red hot. I'm not entirely sure they've missed more than once from the field so far.
Yeah, they've continued to bury their shots, find open lanes, and knock them threes when they need to. It's been a huge point of emphasis for Rockford as they have continued to dominate on offense.
So here's the junior Xander Sorokin, working point guard for the Bulldogs now. Finds Heckman. Heckman loses his dribble, somehow stays in bounds. Tries to find a high board. Now Irwin going the other way, working on Vanderhart. Goes up right hand, and he gets the foul and one. Early 14-point lead for the Rams. It's dominated by number 12, Drake Irwin.
Yeah, just not the part that you wanted to see as a Bulldogs fan. Rockford just continues to dominate. Grandville has their 5th turnover already, and we are not even done with the first quarter.
Irwin knocks down his free throw, making it 20-5 in favor of the Rams. So checking back in for the Bulldogs is number 3, Carter Wade, the freshman transfer.
And you mentioned that the leader of this Rockford offense has been Drake Irwin. He has 8 of their current 20 points. He's been a real engine for them so far in this game.
Yeah, so dang near half of their points has come from really not the big man, but the man down low, number 12, Drake Irwin. Here's Rigneris. That's what they need to find. Two-hand finish for number 12, Cam Rigneris with the flush.
And that's what Grandville is going to need if they want to get back in this game. Cameron Rigneris is obviously their big leader in points. They need him to get going if they want to get back.
In the corner, this is DeKuyper driving, finds pitch on the outside, no good. And an offensive rebound finds into the hands of pitch. Another offensive rebound to Poot. Up top, here's DeKuyper back inside to pitch. Here's Irwin driving, goes up left hand, no. And he's going to be fouled on the way up after about the 4th offensive chance there. Bulldogs desperately needed a board.
Yeah, especially with you have 2 big dudes down there, being Cameron Rigneris and Corbin Heckman. Heckman standing at about 6'4", Rigneris standing at about 6'9". They need the boards in order to stay in this game. They cannot let up the offensive rebounds.
So Irwin knocks down another one, making him closer to a double-digit point figure in the first quarter, which is just, if you're a Grandville fan, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's brutal for the Grandville defense looking that way, with him just absolutely destroying your defense.
Irwin knocks it down, making his point total reach number 10. So going the other way, here's Vanderhart now. He's working on Landis. Wade resets the offense. Bulldogs in desperate need of a bucket here.
Yeah, they need a bucket to end this quarter. Otherwise, they're going to be in deep trouble going into the second quarter.
Sorokin driving over to Vanderhart. Vanderhart driving baseline. Wade almost lost it. Wade goes up, mid-range, good. Big bucket there from the freshman Carter Wade.
Yeah, it's a bucket that Grandville absolutely needed. Now they need to hold Rockford on defense here.
This is Landis, gets it taken away. So good defensive stand at the end of the quarter, but seemed to be about the first one of the quarter for the Bulldogs as your score here from Vanderslice Gymnasium. Bulldogs 9, Rams 22. We're going to send it down to our sideline cam for a student section shot. So what did you see that quarter? Why was Rockford so successful?
They were just able to get down lane into these great drives, and then they finished strong at the rim. Grandville committed a couple different shooting fouls, and that got Rockford straight to the line. They knocked down all their free throws except for one. So Rockford had that great opening start, and then obviously Grandville went cold from 3 to start. They had about 3 or 4 open threes, couldn't make any until Caden Neves hit one. So that's going to be a big point, is to see if Grandville can start knocking down their threes to get themselves back into this game after being down by 13.
And that was one of our points of emphasis. Grandville has to knock down the three because Rockford is telling him, you got to beat us on the three-point arc. You're not going to beat us in the paint.
Yep.
So Grandville desperately needs to come out here with a little more pep in their step. I don't think they were ready for Rockford to come out with such a hot start, but Grandville desperately needs to turn things around this quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what Coach Des draws up for possible switch in defensive formation. It looks like he's going to stick to his man-to-man. But we'll see what he might say to do differently.
Here's Landis, pitch. Oh, here's Landis back in the corner for three. Wide open look, no good. And he gets another offensive rebound. Coach Desmond Young does not like it. Irwin in the paint. Good steal there from the sophomore, that is, Brendan Vanderhart.
You said it. The offensive rebounds killed Grandville in that one possession when Rockford got like 4 offensive rebounds.
Wade deep three, and he buries it. Big shot there from the freshman Carter Wade to cut the point deficit to 10.
That's a massive shot there. We need to knock down the threes if Grandville wants to get back into this game. Carter Wade showing what he can do.
Here's Gross for three, no good. Board goes to Bascom, and Bascom gets the bucket underneath.
Yeah, Grandville's jumping early and often on all of these interior post moves. They got to stop leaving their feet.
So here's Sorokin working tightly, guarded by Poot. Or excuse me, not guarded by Poot, guarded by Gross. Wade gets it tied up. Ball's going to stay with the Bulldogs. Good defense here by the Rams, really locking up this Grandville offense. Not really even letting them get that many great opportunities, but Grandville really has to take advantage of the few opportunities they get.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to knock down every shot they can that they get open, with obviously this Rockford defense playing with a lot of tenacity, and then Grandville committing a ton of turnovers to go with it.
Wade almost loses it, now finds Regnerus inside. Regnerus goes up, and he's absolutely hammered on the way up. Let's see who they get the foul against. Foul is going against number 12, Drake Irwin. That's his first, team first. So it's going to send Regnerus on line, shooting 2. And a place that Grandville really has struggled all year, including the game on Tuesday. Really need 2 big free throws here from Regnerus.
Yeah, Grandville went, not a good start there for the Bulldogs. Grandville went 7 of 13 against West Ottawa. They would have won the game in regulation if they would have made their free throws and they had the chance. Now will be a big emphasis here now.
And there it is. Regnerus goes over 2. Neves gets the offensive rebound, goes up right hand, and he gets it to fall. But still, I mean, 2 missed. You had the free one, so you get it the hard way, but you could have had 2 free ones at the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Get it the hard way, but you obviously would rather have
Here's
them
the
be
Kuiper
free.
Going up over Sorokin. Tipped out to Vanderhart, and they're going to get another foul on Drake Irwin, I believe. Yeah, foul's going to go on Irwin. That's his second, team's second.
That is a huge foul on Drake Irwin. He has 10 points to lead this Rockford offense, so him possibly going to the bench here is going to be a big deal for Rockford. We'll see what their offense can do without their leading scorer on the court.
Check back in for the Bulldogs, number 33, Colin Hybor, who we touched on pregame. He's going to be a key piece in this game if the Bulldogs want to come away with a win. So here's Wade working left hand. Pulls up mid-range. Wade feeling himself a little bit there. I kind of like that shot still. So here's DeKuyper. Over to Landis. Landis wants a 3, no good. And Bascom saves it right back up top to Gross.
That is the 6th offensive rebound for the Rockford Rams, and we are barely into the second quarter. That is going to be a big point of in the locker room for Dez's squad.
Hounding defense up top by Neves. Now over in the corners, pitch, driving baseline, working left hand. Now over is Gross in the corner, knocks down the 3 to complete the highlight play.
Rockford is knocking down their shots when they need to. It's really keeping their offense going.
So here's Wade working right hand, tries to find Regnerus. Another turnover for the Bulldogs. Pitch going in transition, stops, tries to go up over Neves, and Neves is going to follow him on the way up.
That'll be Nev's second foul.
His second, team first of the quarter with 5:13 left to go.
One of Grandville's better three-point shooters. Obviously, we talked about it so much in pregame. We've emphasized that during the game, Grandville needs the threes, and him being off the court will be an issue.
Pitch at the line, knocks down his 3rd free throw of the game, making the point differential 14. Checking in for the Bulldogs is number 1, Jackson DeYoung. Out comes number 5, Caden Neves, as he just picked up his 2nd foul.
So Grandville running a little bit smaller than they normally do with DeYoung, Wade, and Vanderhart all on the court.
Pitch knocks down both and puts the Rams at 29, opposing the Bulldogs 14. So here's Highboard. Bulldogs desperately need a score here. In the corners, DeYoung. DeYoung almost loses it, somehow holds on. Now Regnieris finds Wade. Wade has a wide open look. No good, off long. Board goes to pitch. Rams looking to go the other way with some speed.
That was a shot that Grandville absolutely needed to get out of the slump.
There's Gross for three, no good. Regnieris strong board underneath. Here's DeYoung going the other way for the Bulldogs. Finds Wade. Wade seems to be kind of who this Grandville offense is running through. He's had the hot hand so far. They got to get Cam Regnieris involved and some other players. So here's Wade, step back three, no good. Board goes to Landis. Rams looking to go the other way.
I'm kind of okay with that shot, but at the same time, you do want to find open three.
Landis pulls up, barely misses. Regnieris gets the strong board with just over 4 minutes to go in the half. Bulldogs, desperate need of points right here.
It almost feels like Grandville's got to start going a little faster on the offensive end.
Not sure how Regnieris wasn't fouled there. Going the other way. Here's Landis. Landis driving right hand, goes up right hand, no good. Board goes to Highboard. Transition game here. Here's Highboard, goes up. Reverse layup, no good. Regnieris follow up, no. Gets his own miss. And they're going to get a jump ball. Ball's going to go to the Rams.
It's a big jump ball there for the Rams. Already getting it back into the hands of Rockford. Looks like Regnieris is going to go take a seat. He rarely comes off the court for Grandville.
For the Bulldogs is number 21, the junior. That's Gibson Connolly. Interesting choice there. Obviously, Regnieris probably a little gassed. Connolly hasn't played in a few games.
Yeah, and notably, Grandville does have another senior on the bench, and Landon Terry, who also has great statures too. So we'll see what Dez has in mind for Connolly here.
So here's pitch outside. Now over to Bascom. Bascom working on the newly checked in Connolly. Goes up, scoop, right hand, no good. Pitch gets his miss. And right underneath the Bascom, and they get the wide open layup. Offensive rebounds continue to kill the Bulldogs.
Now Rockford is just torching Grandville with offensive boards and turnovers. Grandville already has themselves in a deep hole in this game.
Foul goes in the Rams, number 2, Isaac Poot on the inbound. That's his second, team third. Checked in for the Rams is number 5, Seth Anderson. So here's Sorokin working middle of the court, guarded closely by DeKuyper. Good move to create some space. Now finds Highboard. Highboard, wide open look. No good.
Grandville continuing to miss the threes is burning them in this game. They're struggling to come back because they can't knock down these open shots.
Pitch, driving baseline, goes up, reverse layup, and he gets it to fall. Huge lead here for the Rams, up 19 now.
Grandville is in such a deep hole where you feel like you probably need to start taking, where you need to keep taking threes, but they can't make them.
They're going to get a timeout by Coach Young. Wise timeout with 2:36 left to go in the half. Rams up 19, 33-14. We'll be back after the timeout. All right, welcome back post timeout. 2:36 left to go in the half. Rams are up 19. Inbounders Regnieris. He finds Sorokin.
Grandville is in different formation they normally run. They are in a two big set with Regnieris and Connolly.
It's not something we've seen all year. Sorokin for three, pulls it, bank shot, good. Big shot there. Bulldogs need to stop now. DeKuyper going the other way with speed. Goes up left hand, gets the foul on the way up on Sorokin.
Rockford has done a great job of drawing the fouls on these shots from the Bulldogs. And then them knocking down all their free throws, obviously, except for the one earlier on, is going to really kill the Bulldogs here.
So that's going to be Sorokin's second, team second. At the line is DeKuyper. First one off a little short.
Commentator's curse right there.
Yeah. A little bit of a break there for the Bulldogs. Down 16 now. They're going to need to go on a little run before halftime if they want to stay in it.
Yeah, they got to get this thing within 10 at the very least.
Kuiper's second is good. So here's Sorokin driving right hand in the corner, working baseline now, and he's going to be stepped out. I thought he got pushed out. Refs disagreed, so it's going to be another empty possession for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, just another turnover for Grandville. That's number 7 for them. Really deflating if you're the Bulldogs. They got to start making some shots, getting a couple stops here.
So here's to Kuiper. He's been hot all night for the Rams. Now pitch. Finds a cutting Landis. Landis goes up, right hand. Another easy basket for the Rams.
Hey, Rockford's just having their way with Grandville. 36 points. We are 2 minutes away from halftime.
So here's DeYoung driving baseline, and he gets a much-needed bucket for the Bulldogs. Rams already looking to push the other way. Seem to be working with a lot of speed here tonight.
Yeah, they just want to rack up the points and then never let off the gas. Kind of been Rockford's MO. Make their shots, play hard defense, play fast offense.
So here's pitch, driving baseline, back up top. Almost loses the pass as number 2, Isaac Poot. DeKuyper resets with 1:15 left to go in the half.
It's like Rockford's just trying to milk this clock before halftime. They're going to take whatever Grandville gets from them defensively. They're just running down this clock. They're not wanting Grandville to get any more shots.
And rightfully so. I mean, they're up 17, and they've had a very, very dominant first half.
Absolutely.
Regniers almost gets a steal. It's going to be last touched by him with 52 seconds left.
Yeah, Grandville's got to get a steal to end this, otherwise they're not going to see the ball again. I don't see Rockford pulling anything unless it's wide open, so we'll see what happens here on this next possession for the Rockford Rams.
Checked in for the Bulldogs is number 3, Carter Wade. For the Rams is number 4, Dylan Gross. Inbound goes to Poot with under 50 seconds now. He's guarded up top by Connolly, picked up at half court. Bulldogs just looking to intercept a passing lane and try to get a turnover before halftime.
Rams are just continuing to turn the clock. We're down to 34 seconds before halftime.
So here's Gross. High board guarding him up top. And they're really not going for a shot until the last one of the half.
Yep. They just want the ball in their hands, take the last shot, possibly a 3, and then push this to a 20-point game.
Here's Gross, top of the key, finally starts his offense. He drives left hand, has to stop, now finds that's Landis. Landis goes up, and he's going to be fouled on the way up. I believe the foul is going to go on Connolly.
It's like Coach Dez is not happy. He thought that there should have been a count or possibly Rockford stepped on the sideline. Doesn't get either.
So foul is going to go on number 21, Gibson Connolly. It's his first, team third, with 1 second left to go in the half.
Yeah, so Rockford's going to shoot these 2 free throws, send this thing to halftime with a possible 19-point lead for the Rams.
At the line is number 14, Andrew Landis. Buries both, so I believe the Bulldogs are just going to get an inbound and accept their losses at halftime here. So yeah, dominant first half from the Rams. Your score at halftime, Rams 38, Bulldogs 19. We're going to step away for 2 or 3 minutes of this 10-minute halftime, and we'll be back with some more analysis and some sideline action. All right, so we are going to send it down to Kurt on the sideline for a little bit of an analysis before we dive deeper into ours up here. We got to figure out a little technical side of this before we do so. So I guess while we wait for that, what does Grandville have to do in this half in order to keep it close?
I mean, they just have to at least play some decent defense. They're playing very, very porous. Rockford's having their way on the inside. They're drawing fouls. They're making their threes. Grandville's got to play much more solid on defense, possibly start forcing some turnovers. And then Grandville's got to start making some of their shots. They keep on missing their threes. They have 7 turnovers so far in the game. Grandville's got to start making more of their shots, committing less turnovers. They need to maximize every offensive possession that they can get.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to create some more offensive possessions because right now it seems like Rockford is just unstoppable. And whether there's a hand in their face or whether there's hand down, it doesn't matter. They're making it anyway. So
Yep.
I think they're going to really have to force some turnovers, intercept some passing lanes, get a few steals. They're going to have to come up with something because if they want to win this, they're going to have to mount a huge comeback down 19.
Especially with the offensive boards. Rockford had, I believe, 8 offensive boards to start off the first half. Grandville cannot let that go, especially with their big man down low. I mean, he's got to be starting to get some of these boards. So we'll see how it ends up playing out for the Bulldogs and the Rams as we are about 4:45 away from the start of our second half.
All right, looks like our technical side is ready, so we're going to send it down to Kurt to see what he has to say about this first half action.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Obviously not the start that the Bulldogs wanted here tonight. Rockford came out on fire, showing us why they're on a 12-game winning streak coming into this game and why that they have been the top team in the OK Red. A few things that really I noticed during the first half that were the keys to this first half. The first thing, obviously, the turnovers. The turnovers in the first half, the Bulldogs turned it over way too many times. I think you attribute that to the defense of Rockford. They were very aggressive. They got up into the grills of the guards and really knocked a lot of balls away. And it was one and done. It was one shot and out. They were not allowing the Bulldogs to get very many second chances. The other thing are post touches. I don't think the Bulldogs had very many interior post touches at all. I remember the one dunk that the Bulldogs had among their 19 points, but that's it. Everything else was a shot from the perimeter. And so that leads me to points in the paint. Rockford has a ton of points in the paint. A lot of their shots were point-blank shots right underneath, some of them off transition, but a lot of them just in the regular half-court offense. While on the flip side, for the Bulldogs, not a whole lot in terms of getting any points in the paint. Everything was from the perimeter, and then those perimeter shots again were one and done, with Rockford being able to box out and get those long rebounds. So not a great start, down by 19. The game's obviously not over, but the Dogs need a great start in the second half. They need to get the half-court offense going a lot earlier, and they need to cut into this lead, and probably by the fourth quarter they need to be down in single digits to have a legitimate shot. Important third quarter for the season coming up right now for the Bulldogs. Back to you guys.
Yeah, we absolutely agree with everything Kurt just said. One thing I really want to highlight was that the Rams picked up full court, and it was just a one-on-one action, and it seemed to just cause so much havoc for the Bulldogs. I mean, it was Sorokin out there. He was having a tough time bringing it up the court, and he really didn't have a chance to even set up the offense, which I think is another key reason why the Bulldogs weren't able to score and weren't able to get the ball into the paint.
Yeah, when Grandville played against East Kentwood at home, they basically lost the game off of the press. Grandville couldn't get any offense set. They really struggled with just even getting it past the half-court line. EK would force a ton of steals, forcing him into corners against the half-court line. And that's Rockford must have paid attention to the tape because it has really stuttered Grandville's offense with not a lot of preeminent trying to get in the passing lanes type pressure, but just hey, I'm here. You got to acknowledge it. Then now you got to deal with it. and which has really slowed down the Grandville offense.
And the Bulldogs really got to figure it out because it's not necessarily an insanely hard thing to do on defense. You just have to have a pretty quick guard that can go out there and pick up somebody full court. And if they can't figure out how to run an offense off that, they're going to be in big trouble come postseason time and even in these next few games. And like you highlighted against EK next week, they're going to have a tough time again if they can't even figure it out against this Rockford team who's nowhere near as fast as that East Kentwood team.
Yeah, East Kentwood is a fast and tall team, very athletic, can get in your passing lanes and make your life extremely difficult. Obviously, Grandville has to run the gauntlet here. If they can somehow escape this game with a win, they're obviously still in the fight, but then they got to go to East Kentwood, and then they have home against Hudsonville. They still have 3 games against the top 3 teams in the OK Red other than themselves.
Yeah. I think another thing that Kurt highlighted down there is that they have to cut this lead. I think Kurt was exactly spot on with what he said, and that they have to get it to single digits by the start of that fourth quarter, or it almost seems out of reach.
Yeah, absolutely has to get down to single digits here. Grandville's got to play a little faster probably, which isn't what they're normally used to. They like to play through the middle, but we'll see what Grandville has drawn up as they're going to get the ball on the top part of your screen.
So clock ticks down to 0. 8 minutes put up on the board. Inbound goes to Wade. Second half action here from Vanderslice Gymnasium. Good early touch here in the paint to Cam Regnieris, and that's exactly what we talked about. That's got to happen more often this half.
Yeah, that's obviously got to be a huge point of emphasis. Get the ball to Cam Regnieris and let him go to work.
Wide open, the Kuiper misses from the arc. Bulldogs going the other way. Good start here to the half if you're a Bulldogs fan.
Yeah, Grandville's got to start playing fast. They need to cut this lead down.
DeYoung in the corner for 3. He wants it. He got it. Beautiful start. Couldn't ask for anything better for the Bulldogs, and an early timeout for the Rams. 2:30, 2:23 that is. 37 seconds ticked off. Bulldogs add 5 points and already cut in this deficit and make it a 14-point.
Yeah, they started absolutely on fire. Huge points that we talked about, that Kurt talked about, with getting the post touches into Regnieris. Regnieris finishes strong. Rockford misses, and then DeYoung buries the triple in the corner. It's absolutely what Grandville needed.
Yeah, huge start. So gets Rockford to burn a quick timeout. I don't think they burned any in the first half, so they still have another 30-second timeout and 3 full timeouts to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how that comes in to affect the game later on. But if you're a Grandville fan, great start.
Yeah.
Couldn't ask for much more.
Hopefully they can get another stop here, and they need to go back the other way. So really what it came down to was not great defense by the Bulldogs. DeKuyper had a wide-open 3-ball look. So maybe this is a sign that the Rams could be cooling down. But here's Gross running point for the Rams now. He finds DeKuyper up top. Bulldogs look to have a high trap, a little action on defense here.
Hey, Grandville's switching up their defensive scheme a little bit, forcing more traps on the Rockford Rams. They're trying to create some turnovers here.
Yeah, I like this defensive look. It's not something we've seen all year, but it's a good thing to implement. Here's Gross for 3, and he buries it. Good response there from the sophomore, Dylan Gross.
It's absolutely what you need if you're a Rockford fan, and that is not what you need if you're a Grandville fan.
So here's Gross going the other way. Guarded tightly by Wade. Tries to find a pass over to Landis. A loose ball. It's going to be fought for, and we're going to get a jump ball. Ball's going to stay with the Rams.
Yeah, Rams getting another possession already. We'll see what they can draw up real quick. See if they've got a plan in mind to deal with this new trap style of Grandville defense.
So I don't think it's not a man-to-man. It's a kind of a loose zone idea that the Bulldogs have going on.
Yeah.
So here's Landis in the corner. He wants the 3, and he buries it. So much for Rockford coming out a little colder as they now lead by 20.
Yeah. After a little bit of a cold start, missing that wide-open 3, Rockford has gone back-to-back with their triples. Now a 20-point lead against the Bulldogs.
So here's DeYoung out of arc, goes up, finds Regnieris. Regnieris wide open in the paint, and he gets the foul and 1. Huge bucket there from Regnieris. So foul goes on number 24, Jacob Bascom. That's his first, team first, with 6:05 left to go in the third.
Yeah, Grandville's absolutely got knocked down. These couple free throws has been a big emphasis of the year, has been the missing free throws.
Good job by Rigneris to knock down the three-point play. Full court pressure now by the Bulldogs, another thing that we haven't really seen all season. Rams looking to be a little off balance here. Here's DeKuyper, far side. Bulldogs just seem to be trapping every chance they get, but that leads to wide open looks like that from Gross. Wade picks up the board, looking to go the other way. Stolen, that is, by Irwin, and the Rams are going the other way. Tipped out of bounds, last touch by the Rams. Bulldogs take over.
Yeah, Grandville absolutely needed that turnover there by the Rams after they committed a turnover themselves. Let's see what Grandville can do off this next offensive possession.
And they're going to get it changed as the far side ref saw it differently and changed the call.
Coach Desmond is livid at the ref, not liking what he saw there.
I'm not sure how he can make that call from, he's at midcourt, and the ref that was down on the baseline saw it differently. But here's Irwin driving, goes up, and they're going to get a foul on the way up, either against Neves or Rigneris.
Now we'll see who that's against. If it's against Neves, that's his third foul.
And it is. It's against Neves. That's his third, team first. So big swing of events. Bulldogs get the turnover, and then call is changed, and it goes back, and Neves picks up his third foul, and now Irwin's at the line. Only missed one free throw of his many tonight.
And Drake Irwin continues to be the leader of this Rockford offense. He has got, so far, he's got 13 points so far for the Rams. Obviously, their leader in scoring.
Off short, board goes to high board. Checked in for the Bulldogs is the sophomore Brendan Vanderhart, number 30.
Grandville's got to probably knock down a three or something here in order to get them back offensively here.
Desperately just need points. So here's Highboard. Highboard pull up Jay from the elbow. No good. Tipped around. Irwin gets the ball going the other way. Irwin wide open lane. Transition bucket again for the Rams. Puts them back up 20. Game seems out of reach at this point. Bulldogs desperately need a basket here.
Grandville's got to get something here if they want to get back into this.
Foul's going to go against the hand check of number 3, Mikey DeKuyper, his second, team second. In for the Bulldogs now, number 0, Zinner Sorokin. Checked back in is number 10, Lucas Pitch for the Rams. Inbound goes to Sorokin. Sorokin looking to lead this offense in some sort of way. In the paint, here's Rigneris. Double team comes, finds Highboard. Highboard wide open look. And he knocks it down, gets it, rattles it home.
It's a desperate shot that Grandville absolutely needed. Looked like it might have gone out, but it lands home for Highboard.
So here's Gross running the point for the Rams. Now in the corner, that's Bascom. Driving baseline, almost picked off by Jackson DeYoung. Few misses underneath. Rams get another offensive rebound. Now here's Bascom for another look, no good. Bulldogs finally get a rebound.
Yeah, Grandville needs to limit these Rockford offensive boards. Is getting them extra possessions that's been burning Grandville earlier on.
In the paint, here's Rigneris. Another paint touch, and they're going to get a foul. Foul goes on number 2. That's Isaac Poot. That's his second, team third. So inbounder at the baseline is number 33, Colin Highboard, as number 5, Seth Anderson, checks in for the Rams. Here's Rigneris outside the arc. He wants the 3. He can make it, and he does. Big basket there from the big man, number 12, Cam Rigneris, from beyond the arc.
Yeah, he's showcasing the full offensive bag there. He can be deadly from three-point if you leave him open.
Pitch gets cut off. Somehow finds a pass over to his teammate. Now it's Landis was driving. Got blocked by Rigneris, but Stripes says he got more body than ball.
Yeah, you can obviously hear it from the Grandville crowd. Not liking this call. I'm in agreement.
At the line and shooting 2 for the Rams is number 14, Andrew Landis. First one is good. Checking back in is number 12, Drake Irwin. Second one for Landis is good, putting the Rams back up 16.
Grandville's got to get a bucket here. They need to cut this down to a one-digit game.
So here's Vanderhart in the corner, driving middle, over to DeYoung. DeYoung driving baseline, out top. Here's Highmore for three. He can bury it, and he does. Bulldogs starting to come alive a little bit on offense. Got to get a defensive stop. Here's pitch. Now over to Gross. Gross gets it across half. Wide open, Landis buries it, responds with his own triple.
You just cannot leave these Rockford Rams open. They will knock down the shots when they need to.
It's a tough task for this Bulldogs team because they desperately need turnovers, but at the same time, like you just said, can't leave them wide open.
Exactly.
Rigneris beyond the arc, driving middle, and he's going to get a reach-in foul as he was stopped on his drive. Foul goes on number 12, Drake Irwin. That's his third, team fourth of the quarter.
We'll see what Grandville's going to draw up here. Obviously, desperately need the points, so we'll see what Dez has in mind for the Bulldogs.
Checked in for the Rams, number 3, Mikey DeKuyper. Inbounder is going to be DeYoung underneath the basket. Inbound is going to go to Rigneris in the near corner. He goes up right hand. On the way up, he's going to be fouled. Foul's going to go on number 12 again, I believe. That's going to be his fourth, team fifth. So Drake Irwin, the Rams' leading scorer, now in big foul trouble with 4.
Obviously, one of their leading scorers of the night. He's got his fourth. We'll see how that affects the Rockford offense.
Rigneris at the line, shooting 2. First one buries it. Makes it a 15-point game with 2:51 left to go.
Obviously, Rigneris missed his first couple free throws. He's going to really need this last one. Or if he misses it, Grandville's got to get the offensive board.
Rigneris knocks down both, makes it a 14-point game as number 24, Jacob Bascom for the Rams, checks back in. Full court pressure still on for the Bulldogs, looking for a turnover. Here's pitch. Now over to Bascom. Now Landis. DeKuyper driving left hand over Highmore, no good. Last touch by the Bulldogs. It's going to stay with the Rams.
Much better job there by the Bulldogs after Rockford's press break of picking up the Rockford offense. But they needed to force that turnover there or get the board after the block by Highmore.
DeKuyper to inbound. Gets it into Bascom in the near corner. DeKuyper up top. He resets with 2:30 left to go in the third. Rams by 14. Now here's Anderson. Anderson working on Sorokin. Now over to pitch, working on the sophomore Vanderhart. Going up left hand. Hook shot good by number 10, Lucas Pitch.
And Rockford
Rigneris wide open in the paint. DeYoung can't get it to him, and his last touch by the Rams going to stay with the Bulldogs. It was 2-on-1 there. Wide open Rigneris. DeYoung tried to go over the top, couldn't get to him. And for the Bulldogs, number 3, Carter Wade. For the Rams, number 2, Isaac Poot. And number 4, Dylan Gross.
Yeah, last possession by Rockford looked like they went with a more of a slower approach, not looking to push the tempo as much, obviously, as they have this big lead.
So here's Rigneris working on Poot. Big size advantage there. Highmore in the corner for 3. No good, off a little short. And that's something that I don't love to see on that rebound. Bulldogs started running back. I mean, they got to play that transition game because Rockford's been running in transition. But I think that's the reason that the rebounds have been so trying to think of the word.
Lopsided.
Yeah, lopsided. There it is.
Yeah, obviously the boards have been very lopsided for the Rams. Grandville just not looking to show effort on the offensive boards.
So here's DeKuyper, almost gets it tipped away. Somehow holds on. Here's Gross. Gets a double team. Now DeKuyper resets, and they're going to get a carry before the drive.
So ball will be back in the hands of Grandville. Rockford showing a little bit of a press, looking to get Grandville out of sync again.
They're going to get a timeout, Rams, 30-second timeout with 1:27 left to go. We're going to step away for the Just kidding. Maybe not. Hold on. Everybody's staying on the court.
False alarm, I guess.
No timeout was called. Ref says that one's on me. So no full court pressure for the Rams anymore. Bulldogs in desperate need of a basket if they want to stay within reaching distance.
Rockford showing that 2-3 zone once again, looking to shut down Rigneris.
Now Rigneris finds Wade. Wade wide open three, top of the key, no good. Poot going the other way for the Rams. Backcourt violation as Poot wasn't over the line when Pitch tried to find him with 1:01 left to go in the third. Check back in for the Bulldogs, number 23, Corbin Heckman.
He is one of their better three-point shooters. Grandville's got 4 of their best three-point shooters, including Rigneris. He can bury him when he needs to. Grandville probably looking to get a 3 here as they need to cut this lead down.
Need some points. Trying to get to that single-digit margin. Double team comes on Rigneris. Here's Heckman cutting. Good basket there from number 23, Corbin Heckman. Makes it a 14-point lead. Wouldn't be surprised if the Rams attempt to go for the last shot of the quarter again as the Kuiper looks to slow down the offense.
Yeah, Rockford's just running their guys around, holding out the top of the court. We're just kind of waiting to see what will happen.
Under 30 seconds now. Looks like the Rams are going to hold on for the last shot of the quarter. Here's the Kuiper driving, and he backs back out.
Rockford just playing very, very patiently on this offensive possession. Doesn't want Grandville to get that ball back.
Under 10 seconds now. Here's the Kuiper. Finally going to look for an offense here. Behind the back move. Going left hand. Driving baseline. Tries to go up over Rigneris. Blocked by Rigneris. That brings us to the end of our third quarter. Your score, Bulldogs 40, Rockford 54. And we're going to send it down to Kurt real quick as we have the 1-minute break. So a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Not sure if the mic died or if it's not on, but I'm very sure that Kurt had something amazing to say for us. Wish I could have got to hear it, but unfortunately, technical issues continue to plague our live stream recently. So 20 seconds before the break ends, we're going to take just a tiny bit of a break. All right, we're back. 14-point lead for the Rams. What do the Bulldogs need to do in this quarter in order to get back within?
Force turnovers, knock down some open shots. They desperately need to get points and get them fast. They need to limit Rockford's possessions.
Tries to get it into Rigneris. Rigneris goes up over 3, and he's going to be fouled on the way up. I believe it's going to go on Pitch. Big free throws here for Grandville. Foul is indeed going to go on number 10, Lucas Pitch. That's going to be his first, team first, with 7:48 left to go in the fourth.
Rigneris absolutely needs to knock down these couple free throws here.
First one is good.
Rockford so far has done a great job of limiting Rigneris. He's only got 10 points on the night. Make that 11 short of what his normal numbers are.
So here's Gross, picked up in a full court press. Drives right into a double team. Now over to the Kuiper. Clock's running down on that 10-second mark. Landis long 3, no good. Good defensive possession. Bulldogs looking to cut it to a one-digit lead.
We'll see what Grandville has in mind against
Wade
the Rockford
drives,
defense.
goes up, no good. Gets his own miss, hands it off to Heckman, and Heckman makes it a 10-point game. Bulldogs right back into fighting distance. Now here's Gross, drives into the double team, back over to DeKuyper. For the first time tonight, we're seeing the Rams a little bit off-centered. And that's a 10-second violation. Another turnover for the Rams. Bulldogs take over again. Crowd starting to get into it a little bit here from Vanderslice Gymnasium.
Absolutely must-need turnover there, forced by the Grandville Bulldogs. They got to get points here to cut this thing down to that one-digit lead that we have been emphasizing so much.
Yeah, and this Rams team has just felt so comfortable here early. And for the first time, we're seeing them to be a little bit uncomfortable. Tipped out of bounds by the Rams. Bulldogs are going to retain.
Yeah, the press has been looking to shake the Rockford Rams up a little bit offensively. Done a great job of it. We'll see what Grandville has offensively against the Rams.
Inbound goes to Rigneris. Looks like they're going to work through him a lot. Skip pass over to Vanderhart. Vanderhart in the paint. Now outside to Neves. Neves for three. No good. Another good offensive rebound by Heckman. Last touch by the Rams. Bulldogs are going to take it. Great offensive rebound work by number 23, Corbin Heckman, working his butt off down there.
Great work by Heckman. We emphasized the offensive rebounds for Grandville. They didn't get a lot to start out this game, but now that was a big board there by Heckman.
Turnover by Neves. Going the other way is Bascom. Bascom goes up. Reverse layup. No good. Irwin tries to get it. Wade tries to get it. Wade comes up with it, and they're going to get a jump ball. It's going to stay with the Rams.
Looked like there could have possibly been a reach and foul. Instead they go with the jump ball. It will be Rockford ball underneath their hoop.
Inbounder is going to be Gross. Inbound goes to Bascom. Now over to pitch. Now Gross. Gross resets. He's working on Wade with 6:30 left to go. 10-point lead for the Rams.
Grandville's got to force a turnover here. Rams are playing very, very slow. Just milking this clock.
Rams in no hurry. Here's Gross driving left hand. Goes up over Wade, and they're going to get a foul on the way up against number 3, Carter Wade.
Yeah, it's a big foul there. Rams have been great at knocking down their free throws. We'll see if they can knock them both down here.
It's going to be Wade's first, team first. First one for Gross is good. In for the Bulldogs is number 33, Colin Hybor. Out comes Brendan Vanderhart.
Gross, one of Rockford's great offensive weapons. He's got 2 threes on the day. Now he's got 8 points in total now for the Rockford Rams.
So here's Wade. Bulldogs in need of another basket. Down 12 with 6 minutes left. Almost gets it tipped away. Here's Heckman. Now over to Rigneris. Rigneris looking to drive. Goes up. No good. Could have been a foul. Rigneris wanted it. Poots going the other way for the Rams.
Rams just playing nice and slow. They're in no rush to get a bucket here.
Here's Poot up top working on Hybor. Irwin gets it tipped away. Good job by Neves. Neves hustling. It's going to be Neves comes up with it. Finds a cutting Wade. Last tipped by the Rams. Good defense there by Caden Neves.
Great work by both Carter Wade and Caden Neves. Again on the floor. They're going to work. Now Greenville has possession.
In for the Rams is the dominant guard, number 3, Mikey DeKuyper. For the Bulldogs, number 0, Xander Sorokin. Out comes Wade after the great defensive play.
We'll see what comes to this play here by the Greenville Bulldogs.
Here's Neves up top. Now finds Hybor. Hybor driving middle, goes up. Fadeaway floater, and he gets it to fall. 10-point lead with 5 minutes left. DeKuyper slows. Now over to Gross, back to DeKuyper. Bulldogs back in this trap look.
Greenville's got to look for a turnover here.
Irwin misses underneath the basket, and the Bulldogs get the stop they were looking for. So now Sorokin going the other way. Bulldogs in desperate need of points.
It's a big missed shot there by the Rams. See what Grandville can do off of it.
Heckman has a mismatch down low. Regniers fires away from three, and he buries it. Big basket there to cut it to single digits. Bulldogs only down 7.
Huge shot by Regniers. Cut this thing back into single digits. Grandville absolutely has to lock down here on defense.
Crowd back into it for the Bulldogs. Here's Gross, guarded tightly by Sorokin. Bulldogs with a little life as Hybor fouls. That's going to be his first, team second with 4:27 left to go. Checking back in is a great defensive body in number 1, Jackson DeYoung.
Yeah, not very tall in stature, but he has a great motor, plays with so much tenacity there for the Bulldogs.
So we're going to get a timeout Rams. Looks like it's going to be a full timeout. So full minute timeout with 4:27. We're going to step away for a minute. Bulldogs coming back.
Not letting them do what they want, letting them milk down this clock.
So sorry about that. Looks like our mics were muted for that a little bit. So yeah, Bulldogs up 7. Rams just seem to be milking the clock.
And Rockford continuing to work against the clock here. Just kind of getting whatever they want.
Landis drives, goes up, reverse layup, and it's good, making it a 9-point game. Bulldogs in desperate need of points.
Grandville's going to probably look to run a little faster here. Probably not going to get a post touch here for Regniers.
Points and a turnover. Neves looking to find it. Here he goes, pull-up jumper, no good off short. Boscombe gets the board, now 2:23 left to go. That seemed to be like a big possession, one that could come back to haunt the Bulldogs later on in this one.
Yeah, after a made layup by the Rams and then just barely a short miss there for Neves. We'll see how that ends up playing for
Irwin in the
Bulldogs.
corner for three, no good. Highboard gets the board, and a bit of a scary fall there, getting a little flashback from Tuesday. Foul goes on number 24. That's Jacob Bascom. That's going to be his second, team third. Checks back in for the Rams is number 3. That's Mikey DeKuyper.
Granville's got to look to go a little fast here. They need the points desperately.
Got to get a bucket here. Outside is Heckman. Fake spins, finds Rigneris. Rigneris loses it. Heckman somehow keeps it in. Tries to find Rigneris, taken away by DeKuyper. DeKuyper going the other way. Heckman gets the steal, going the other way. Has to slow. And he gets it taken away by Boscombe. Boscombe has a wide open lane, goes up, misses the dunk. Last touch by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Rockford just milking the clock. Even with the missed dunk, they still have the possession. Honestly, might work out in their favor because now they just get to milk more clock.
So timeout Bulldogs, 1:24 left to go in the fourth. We'll be right back. All right, so Coach Young has what he thinks is going to get the takeaway. Bulldogs down 9 in desperate need of a turnover with 1:24 left to go.
Yeah, they need something here in order for Grandville to even have a chance to get back and to win this game.
Up top, here's Gross, and he's going to be fouled by DeYoung.
Granville's got plenty of fouls to give. They still got 2 more before the Rams start shooting free throws.
That's going to be DeYoung's first foul, team 4th. Pitches inbound, goes over to Bascom. He's driving right hand, stops on a dime, and they're going to get a timeout. Rams with 1:11 left to go.
Yeah, full timeout.
Yeah, so Bulldogs obviously in desperate need of a turnover here. Down 9, 1:11 left to go. What do you think Coach Des draws up here?
Probably just emphasizing to the guys, intercept the passes if you can, and then get a trap in a corner if they dish it out to any kind of corner. Obviously, they've got 3 great defensive specialists out there in DeYoung, Postma, and Rigneris. So they are looking for that turnover. It's just, can they get it?
Yeah. And it's a matter of if you have to foul, who do you foul? Because it seems like everybody's been hot at the line for the Rams. Nobody's been missing. They seem to be just shooting the lights out of the gym. So, tough call here for Coach Young. 1:11 left to go. Bulldogs down 9.
Yeah, Bulldogs just have to keep on fighting. They can't let it seem like they are out of it couple steals, couple of made shots, you can very well be back into it, but you need to get a steal here and then get the ball back and get a quick bucket.
Gross is going to be the inbounder for the Rams. He gets it into Irwin. Up top is Gross. And they're going to get a foul on Postma, who recently checked in for the first time tonight. That's going to be his first, team 5th. So that's going to send the Rams to the line. Looks like it's going to be number 4, Dylan Gross, at the line, shooting 2.
Looks like Grandville's going to check in a couple of three-point specialists, and Colin Hybor and Corbin Heckman just looking to knock down a couple of threes when they get the ball back.
Gross's first one is up and good.
He has been money from the line. He's got 3 made free throws along with 2 made threes, so he's got 9 points on the night.
Gross looking to get himself to double digits here. And he can't do it. Neves gets the board. Bulldogs with a little life, down 10 with a minute.
Got to be a quick shot here.
Wade pulls up for 3, and he buries it. Makes it a 7-point game, 57 seconds left.
It's the big shot that Grandville needed.
Calls his last 30-second timeout, now only with 1 full. Defensive subs come in with number 1, Jackson DeYoung, and number 2, Boston Postma.
Grandville's going to look for a hard press here and then see what they can get out of it. They absolutely need a steal here. If you don't get a steal right away, you got to foul pretty quickly and then hope that Rockford misses. Then you got to go back down and make a shot.
I think if they had a choice, probably foul Boscom. Irwin's coming off 2 misses, but he's been money from
everywhere else.
And even at the line for the rest of the game. So I'd say Irwin or Boscom are going to be your best bets, but I don't think there's anybody good to foul. Bulldogs in desperate need of a steal.
Yeah, they absolutely are going to need a steal in order to get back in this. You mentioned earlier they got the 2 defensive specialists in Postma and DeYoung. They are pressed up along with Cameron Regnieris and that big wingspan of his.
Pitches the inbounder, gets it in to Landis. Landis gets it to Gross. Gross gets across half court. Now it's Boscom in the corner. Dogs still not fouling. Now over to Gross. Gross up top, and he's going to be fouled. Not sure if it was intentional.
And we'll see if he can make those couple free throws. Offensive specialists coming in for Grandville and Hybor and Heckman. It looks like we're going to see lots of switching between those 2 and Postman and DeYoung.
Gross's first one is good. Makes it an 8-point game.
And now Dylan Gross has now entered double figures for the Rams. He is their 4th member in double figures. Really emphasizing how great of an offensive night the Rams have had against this Bulldog defense.
Gross' second one is good, so checks in as number 3, Mikey DeKuyper. 9-point game, 43 seconds. Bulldogs close to being out of it, not yet out.
Need a fast bucket here.
Wade over to Neves. Time is burning. Neves goes up, gets the foul on the way up, so he's going to be at the line with 32.8 seconds.
So he'll be shooting 2. Might be looking to even make one and maybe an intentional miss just to get another bucket, but we'll see what happens.
Neves' first one is up. And no good. Not the one you want to miss if you were going to miss one. Defensive subs come back in for the Bulldogs. Offensive sub in Dylan Gross back in for the Rams. Second one for Neves is up and good, making an 8-point game. Rams get it into Gross. And they're going to get a timeout Rams with 31.2 seconds left. So we'll be back shortly after this quick timeout from the Rams. All right, we're back. 31.2 seconds. Bulldogs down 8. Need a steal here.
Yeah, they're running this press. Rockford's got to play on the inbound here, though.
Inbound gets it into Gross. Gross turns it over. Here's Rigneris, goes up, and he gets the finish. Clock doesn't stop. Bulldogs down 6. Inbound goes to Gross again. Gets it back to Pitch. Pitch throws it up to Landis. And they're going to get foul. Not sure who they're going to get it on, as there's 3 Bulldogs right around there. Foul's going to go on number 2, Boston Postma. That's his 3rd. So at the line, shooting 2 for the Rams is number 14, Andrew Landis.
Grandville's going to need some misses here if they want to get back into this, if they have any chance at all. Need a couple misses, make a 3.
And that's not going to help.
Miss. Rockford domination on offense. If you're Grandville, 55 points is pretty solid offensively, but the defense of the Bulldogs really letting Rockford get what they wanted.
So Landis makes both. Wade going the other way. Game's all but over. Foul's going to go on number 3, Mikey DeKuyper, his 3rd, team 2nd with 10 seconds left to go.
If you're Grandville, you're just kind of thinking a 3. You're just kind of in a desperation mode here.
Absolutely. Here's Highbor. Now Wade, deep 3, no good. Landis gets the rebound, and that's going to bring us to the end of it. Bulldogs put up maybe a little bit more of a fight. Final score, Bulldogs 55, Rams 63. We're going to have a little bit of a post-game session here as we're going to send it down over to Kurt in just a moment. And then we'll be back with a few of our thoughts. So, are we about ready to go down there? I believe we are. So we're going to send it down over to you, Kurt.
Hey guys, obviously the Bulldogs had a big hole to dig out from after halftime, down by 19. I thought they played a lot better in the second half. They're able to get to within 7 points a couple of times there in the fourth quarter, but it was that defensive pressure coming out of the locker room that gave them a little spark, got the crowd back into the game, but Rockford really showed their mettle as well. They hit a couple of back-to-back threes to get the lead back into double digits, but when the game got on the line and down to 7 points a couple of times, Rockford hit the big shots when it counted. They also were able to hit free throws. A good team will hit their free throws down to the end. A couple of things we talked about at halftime for the Bulldogs is that they needed to make sure that they were able to defensively put some pressure on, which they did. They played a lot better defensively in the second half than they did in the first half. They got some more post touches, and they were able to get more one-and-dones for Rockford. They were doing a lot better job of holding Rockford to just perimeter shots. So even though it goes down as an L in the book, I think the second half will give the Dogs some momentum heading into yet another huge OK Red battle next time out. It doesn't get any easier, guys. East Kentwood is on the docket on Tuesday, so it just keeps getting harder and harder here in the OK Red, but it will really strengthen up this team as they get ready and get set for districts, which, boy, it's only a couple of weeks away. So a loss tonight by 8, but they'll see what they can do against East Kentwood next week on Tuesday.
Perfect. Thanks, Kurt. And one thing that this loss does is fully knocks the Bulldogs out of playoff contention. So, or not out of playoff contention, but out of number 1 seed in the OK Red contention. So, now Rockford moves to 10-0 in the OK Red. And like I just said, that's untouchable by Grandville now.
Yeah, Grandville can't really get back into the first place now. They're just now going to be trailing East Kentwood. They are basically going to be fighting to not lose their 3rd spot in the OK Red, as they have both East Kentwood and Hudsonville still left on the board. Hudsonville obviously trailing in that 4th spot behind the Bulldogs. We're looking for the Bulldogs to lose here. Now Greenville's got to beat Hudsonville, and they have to beat EK if they want to stay in 3rd.
Yeah, so obviously Kurt said district's coming up. So let's look at our upcoming schedule for the Bulldogs. So up next week, As we've alluded to really all night, East Kentwood on Tuesday, Hudsonville on Friday. Doesn't get any bit easier.
No, absolutely not. This Grandville Bulldogs team is running a pure gauntlet to end this season. I mean, they even had that close game against West Iowa where West Iowa gave them a run for their money, even though they were only a 4-12 to start that game. So obviously, Grandville is in a couple of must-need games coming up, especially on a very hostile environment that is East Kentwood. And they will play with as much as they can give the Bulldogs. Obviously, the press giving the Grandville Bulldogs a lot of trouble in this game and Granville's previous game against East Kentwood, where they lost by 12 at home. So look to see what Grandville can do against East Kentwood. If they can get that one a win, then maybe they can repeat what they had against Hudsonville, get another possible win, and then go into districts on a little bit of a streak after running a very hard gauntlet.
Yeah, so they get maybe, I guess you could say, a little bit of break after those two games and a game against the Grand Haven Buccaneers, who they handled pretty well last time. But at the end of the day, Bulldogs end up losing by 8 here at their home turf. I guess not their home turf, but their home hardwood, you could say. So your final score, Rams 63, Bulldogs 55. We thank you to everybody that tuned in and for everybody helping. My name is Sam Hungerford. I'm alongside Nick Slater, and we thank you all for tuning in. Have a great night.